It's hard to imagine a scenario where you would disappear in front of your loved one. You could be standing right next to them one moment, but the next, they would have absolutely no idea where you went. Even stranger, you might have been talking to them on the phone, but then they hear nothing but static when they try to respond. These situations are almost impossible, yet they happen occasionally. Today, we will discuss a young man who was on a phone call with his mother when he mysteriously vanished. We will also talk about the various theories surrounding his disappearance. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe so that you won't miss other interesting videos. Christopher Brandon Swanson was born on November 13, 1988, and grew up in the small town of Appleton, Minnesota. His hometown was surrounded by farmland and offered peace and quiet to its residents. Brandon attended Appleton Area High School, where he was involved in multiple sports activities, including football and wrestling. When he finished high school, he enrolled at Ridgewater College in Wilmar, Minnesota. He was studying to become a diesel mechanic. Brandon enjoyed spending time with his friends, going to parties and driving around. He liked driving fast and taking sharp turns, which occasionally landed him in trouble with the law. 1 week before the incident, Brandon got arrested after police officers found him driving without a license. He paid the fine and was released. At the time of his disappearance, Brandon was 19 years old. He was described as a fun-loving young man who was good-humored and quick-witted. He had brown hair and green eyes and stood 5'11" tall. Brandon weighed approximately 150 pounds. On Friday, May 9, 2008, Brandon went out with some of his friends to a nearby lake where they went swimming and drinking. After staying out all day, he returned home around 9 p.m. He showered, changed his clothes, and prepared himself for another night out. This time, he invited his friend Kyle Blank to his apartment. At midnight, Brandon texted Kyle and told him that he was ready to go out. They got into Brandon's red Chevy pickup truck and drove around. Brandon wanted to stop by a bar, but it was closed, so they decided to attend a party instead. Around 1 a.m., they arrived at the party, and Brandon left his truck on the shoulder of the road. He was planning to move it closer to the house later on. Brandon and Kyle stayed at the party for a few hours. At around 1:50 a.m., Brandon texted Kyle's sister and asked if he could borrow a vehicle to pick up his truck. Kyle decided to walk to the road and see if he could find another car that could take them home. While Kyle was walking, Brandon sat in his truck and waited. A little while later, Brandon decided to make a phone call to his parents. At this point, it had been less than 2 hours since he arrived at the party. On the other end of the line was Brandon's father, who was asleep at the time. But he picked up the phone because he knew his son would only call him if he needed help. When Brandon explained his situation, his father jumped out of bed and started getting ready to drive. Brandon guided his father toward where he was, but the teenager kept making wrong turns. Brandon asked his father to turn on his emergency lights so that he could follow him. Eventually, Brandon stopped speaking to his father and started shouting at him. It seemed like Brandon was angry about something. Then the line went dead and Brandon disappeared. Brandon's father called back several times, but there was no answer. He then called Brandon's girlfriend and asked her to call her brother and see if she knew where Brandon could be. Meanwhile, Brandon's mother was frantically calling the local police department to report her son missing. When Brandon made the call to his father, his truck was located on a gravel road. The nearest neighbor was approximately half a mile away from Brandon's truck. There was no sign of a struggle, and his truck was neatly parked on the side of the road. Investigators found the keys inside the ignition and his wallet and cell phone inside the truck. Since Brandon had been in contact with his father a few minutes earlier, the authorities assumed that he was still alive. After 2 days of searching, investigators found Brandon's pickup truck stuck in a ditch on a gravel road. It was 20 miles from where his father found his truck. Brandon's tires were damaged and there was grass stuck in the wheel well. Brandon's father noticed that the truck had been clean when he looked at it earlier, but now there was hay in the back and the passenger seat was missing. The police towed the truck to the impound lot and put it under surveillance. Nobody came to claim it. A few weeks later, Brandon's father returned to the impound lot to look at the truck again. He said that everything had been moved around in the truck, but he didn't mention it to the police at the time. A couple of months after Brandon disappeared, his father returned to the impound lot and discovered blood in the center console of the truck. It was sent to the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension lab in Minneapolis, but it didn't match Brandon's DNA. The blood was likely from an animal. During Brandon's phone call with his father, he said that he was close to Lynd, Minnesota, but he was actually 20 miles away from there. He also said that he was on a gravel road, but the truck was found on a paved road. How did Brandon manage to get to the correct location without knowing where he was? Was he being followed or guided by someone else? Is that why he was shouting at his father? We might never know. Over the years, many theories have emerged regarding Brandon's disappearance. Some people believe that he was drunk and drove off the road. His truck ended up in a ditch and he walked away. Maybe he tried to fix the flat tire and ended up dying in the process. But there was no evidence that Brandon was drunk. Furthermore, his truck was found in good condition. It showed no signs of damage. Another theory suggests that Brandon was abducted. But why would the person who kidnapped him leave his belongings in the truck? Furthermore, Brandon put up quite a fight during the phone call with his father. If he was being kidnapped, he wouldn't have been able to do that. Some believe that Brandon ran away from home. However, Brandon had no money and he was supposed to return home the next day to take care of his sick puppy. Besides, why would he leave his phone and wallet behind? His mother says that if he was running away, he would have taken his wallet with him because he always carried it everywhere. One of the most popular theories suggests that Brandon fell into the Yellow Medicine River and drowned. He may have been disoriented and couldn't find his way out. But the police searched the river extensively and there was no trace of Brandon. It seemed unlikely that he would have drowned without anyone seeing his body. There was also speculation that Brandon encountered some wildlife. There are a lot of deer, coyotes, and foxes in Minnesota. Maybe he stepped out of his truck and one of the animals attacked him. But Brandon would have defended himself against an animal attack, and his body would have been found sooner or later. Brandon's father believes that his son was with someone when he disappeared. He thinks that whoever was with Brandon took his belongings and hid his body. Brandon must have seen or heard something he shouldn't have, and that's why he was taken away. The problem is, nobody knows who that person or persons could be. In 2018, a woman came forward and claimed that she saw Brandon arguing with two men at the party. She watched them drive away in his pickup truck. She thought nothing of it at the time, but later she realized that they probably kidnapped him. Unfortunately, the police were unable to locate these men. Did Brandon accidentally drive to the wrong location? Was he abducted? Or did he run away on purpose? Why did his father hear him shouting? What was the argument about? What happened after Brandon's father lost the connection? Was he in danger? Is he still out there somewhere? Sadly, we might never know the answers to these questions. Brandon's case inspired his mother to create a foundation named after him. Its goal is to help families dealing with similar situations. She has also started a blog to keep Brandon's memory alive. Anyone with information about the case should contact the local authorities. What do you think happened to Brandon? Let us know in the comments.